Kadeshimka, Yid Barak Malkuka, Resimka Yaya Yeshua Vashamayim, Uba Aret, Ubat Lat Menu Tabadi, Umakulanu, Lanukata Ainu, Ka Ashara Anatnu Mukali, Ul Al Tabinu, Lahide, Nasharum, Shamranu, Mapara. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
We're doing English. Our Father which art in heaven, set apart be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all that is evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the esteem of the Father of Yahuah, forever and ever. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Okay. All right. Mr. Cobb, we're going to be going through a little just basic reading, and we're going to be going with the second book of Kings, chapter 1. We're going to read all the way down here and see if we can get some understanding on what's going on with Israel at this point. And the prophet that we're going to be dealing with is the prophet Elijah. I pray that every single lesson that we're doing, that we're able to glean from, take something from it. All right, so I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that. I mean, if you see me going over a couple of things a few times, I mean, whatever case like that might be, there should be some nuggets in every single thing that we teach. Every single time I go over scriptures, I'm able to pick up something a little bit different. Every single time. And that's just the magnificence of the scripture. Every single time that you read it, you're always able to get something more out of it. Again, it's like no other book. This Torah is the instructions that the Father gave us, and it's very important that we are able to glean from the Torah every single time that we read it. If we're not able to do that, we might have a problem. So I'm going to begin with 2 Kings, chapter 1, verse 1. It says, then Moab.
Excuse me, Warren. The title of the
Torah portion, 2 Kings,
chapters.
chapters 1, 2, and 3.
Then Moab rebelled against Yashra'al after the death of Ahab. Everybody know who Ahab is? Okay. Both brothers and sisters, if we need everybody's participation. No? Yes? Maybe?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, because what Moray and I are going to start doing also is that when we do the lessons, we want to make sure everybody's paying attention, because we're going to be asking questions at the end of the class. What I wanted to do was I wanted to ask one brother and one sister, and how Moray does it is going to be up to him. And the reason why is because, again, this is what it's here. This is my disclaimer. It's never personal. Never, ever, ever personal. It's just that we want to make sure that everybody is able to explain him or herself, if you have a challenge, why you believe in what you believe in, why do you believe in the Mashiyach, why you follow the dietary laws, why you feel that portraying a certain character and behavior is important. Because every single chapter, every single verse in the Torah, from Genesis, actually from Genesis to Revelation, shares that with us. So we're not able to get anything from the lessons, we might have a problem. All right, so again, everybody knows who Ahab was, and his Isha was who? Jezebel. Everybody's familiar with Jezebel. So watch how this goes. It says, then Moab rebelled against Israel after the death of Ahab. And Azahiah fell down through Elatis in his upper chamber that was in Samaria. And Ahaziah was sick, and he sent messengers and said unto them, go inquire of Beelzebub, the Elohim of Ekron. Now, anybody know the central location where we're at this point in time? Where are we at? Where's the location? Where is this story taking place at? Samaria is northern kingdom. That's what I want to get. So this is what Maury's been sharing with us for the last, actually like 8 weeks of his teachings, because everybody understands the four procedures on how covenants are made. Everybody still remembers that?
Con.
Yes. Can we say Cain, Con? Can we hear him? I just want to make sure that we're not forgetting.
Proposal,
Okay.
acceptance,
Blood ratification.
blood ratification, and covenant made.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Very good. Very, very good. So we'll read it again. The Moab rebelled against Yashra'al after the death of Ahab, and Ahaziah fell through a lattice in his upper chamber that was in Samaria and was sick. And he sent messengers and said unto them, Go inquire of Beelzebub. Anybody knows who is Beelzebub, the Elohim of Ekron? Who or what is Beelzebub? So you see where this is going? We have an Israelite, okay, and his name is Ahaziah. He fell sick. And the lattice now is just something like it's like an upper chamber of this grand, luxurious house that he had, and he fell through this lattice that they said here. And so instead of inquiring through the mighty one of Yashra'al, which is Yahuah, he went and asked for his messengers to go to Beelzebub, which is the Elohim of Ekron, which is the god of the flies, which represents the quote-unquote the god of medicine. But if we remember the story about the 10 plagues that the Father pronounced on the Egyptians, and none of those gods or mighty ones of Egypt was able to redeem the Egyptians. But we have here now the dog going back into the vomit. So after everything that the Father has done for the nation of Israel, we have, again, Ahaziah telling his messengers now to seek for the advice of Beelzebub, the Elohim of Ekron. So he's asking them now whether I shall recover of this disease. But the messenger of Elohim said to Eliyahu, the Tishbite, Arise, go to meet the messengers of the king of Samaria, which is northern kingdom, and say unto them, Is it not because there is not an Elohim or a mighty one in Yashra'al that you go to inquire of Beelzebub, the Elohim of Ekron? Now therefore thus saith Yahuah, Thou shalt not come down from the bed on which thou art gone up, but you shall surely die. And Eliyahu departed. So let's just look at that for a minute. I have brought up children that have rebelled against me to this very day. All the things that the Father has shared and done for the nation of Yashra'al, and being the husband of the nation of Yashra'al, it's like a slap in the face. To actually now inquire of someone else outside of your Maker. How can you seek counsel? Seek counsel from someone who's not understanding Torah, not about Torah, and the decision that they're going to give you is not about Torah. And so this is what he's doing now. He's going to an outside source. An outside source. And everybody knows now, is that it's almost as if the Father is saying, are there not elders, judges, mores, teachers in Israel? Why can't you go to them regarding your personal, private, or whatever issues that you're going through? You're going to now go to the entity for advice. And because you did that, Ahaziah, you will not return from off your sickness. You're going to die. So this is how serious this walk is. Very, very serious. We must make sure at all times that we give all esteem to the Father of Yahuah. So now, follow on with the story. Now, Ahaziah, he sends out his messengers. They come across Eliyahu. And when the messengers turned back unto him, which is the king, he said unto them, his messengers, why are you now turned back? And they said unto him, there came a man up to meet us, and said unto us, go, turn again unto the king that sent you, and say unto him, thus saith Yahuah, or Yahuah, not because there is not an Elohim in Israel, that thou sendest to inquire of Beelzebub, the Elohim of Ekron. Therefore thou shalt not come down from that bed on which thou art going up, but you shall surely die. And he said unto them, what manner of man was he which came up to meet you, and told you these words? This is Ahaziah now speaking. And his messengers answered and said unto him, he was an hairy man. Now, verse 8 was very interesting. When I looked at some of the commentaries, they did not actually describe Eliyahu. They went to describe his clothing. They skipped all around the whole description. They didn't want to talk about that he had a beard. They didn't want to talk about he had locks in his hair. They skipped all of that and just wanted to describe that he had a girdle of leather about his loins. But we're here to say that Eliyahu had locks. All right, he was a hairy man, and he's fitting the same description that Yahuah the Immerser was, same type of attire that he had. We see that Eliyahu had the same type of attire. I just found this a real interesting story. And so they answered him and said, he was a hairy man, and girded with a girdle of leather about his loins. And he said, which is the king, it is Eliyahu, the Tishbite. The king sent into him a captain of 50. With this 50, and he went up to him, and behold, Eliyahu sat on the top of the hill. And he spoke unto him, thou man of Elohim, the king hath said, come down. And Eliyahu answered and said unto the captain of 50, if I be a man of Elohim, then let fire come down from Shamayim and consume you and the 50. And there came down fire from Shamayim and consumed him and his 50. Not enough is talked about Eliyahu. This man was on point. I mean, to be dedicated and to love and have the Father as the forefront, and to actually now be able to call out to the Father and have fire come down to Shamayim and consume this man and his 50. Very, very interesting person, Eliyahu. Again, also, the king sent unto him another captain of 50 with his 50. And he answered and said unto him, O man of Elohim, thus hath the king said, come down quickly. And Eliyahu answered and said unto them, if I be a man of Elohim, let fire come down from Shamayim and consume you and your 50. And again, the fire of Elohim, came down from Shamayim and consumed him and his 50. And again, he sent a captain of the third, 50 with this 50. Because at some point you have to humble up. All right? This man is about the Father's business. And as we already know, touch not my anointed. And we're here to say that Yashra'al, all 12 tribes, is the Father's anointed. This is the reason why the adversary is going to pay very dearly for touching the Father's elect. And the elect is Yashra'al. All right? We are.
Just a comment.
Yes.
So I'm noticing when he's calling out saying, bring down fire, it's showing Elohim has power. And you called on this other God who didn't do anything, and I just called word.
Exactly.
Burned up already.
Exactly. And so, if the Elohim of Ekron was so powerful, just like you said, then Ahaziah should have been able to now say, listen, you know what, I sent out 150, I sent out a second 50. He should have asked now protection from Beelzebub. And just like you said, now there's only one power, and that's the power of Yahuah, and he sent his son Yahusha, Mashiyach, to be that atoning sacrifice for the nation of Yashra'al. And he sent again a captain of the third, 50 with this 50. And the third captain of 50 went up and came and, watch this now, he fell on his knees before Eliyahu and besought him and said unto him, O man of Elohim, I pray you, let my life and the life of these 50, your servants, be precious in your sight. Behold, there came fire down from Shamayim, and burnt up the 2 captains of the former 50s with their 50s. Therefore let my life now be precious in your sight. And the messenger of Yahuah said unto Eliyahu, a messenger of Yahuah said unto Eliyahu, go down with them, and be not afraid of them. And he arose and went down with them unto the king. And he said unto him, thus saith Yahuah, for as much as thou hast sent messengers to inquire of Beelzebub, just like what Torah has talked about now here, he sent in inquiring of Beelzebub, the Elohim of Ekron, is it not because there is no Elohim in Yashra'al to inquire of his word? So if there's a problem or a situation, why not pray to your Maker, the one that delivered us out of Egypt? It is very important for us to understand that we must always give all esteem to the Father. Always. It's just like, for example, I'm talking to just the men for a minute. How would you like for your Isha to call you by another man's name?
Boy.
Yeah, there's about to be some major problems. Some major problems. And so now we ask the Ishas, how would you like for your Ish to call you by another woman's name? I guess there'll be no problem because nobody said anything. None of the sisters said anything. Because everything that you do for your Ish, make sure that he's comfortable, you're cooking, cleaning, doing all the things that you need to do. So what we're just trying to share here now is that everybody deserves that proper respect. And for us to give the esteem to the Father to someone else is a total slap in the face and is disrespectful. All right, so we can't compare the Father to any. And when the Mashiyach came, the Mashiyach didn't come to do his own will. But that's also another problem. Whenever the Mashiyach spoke, he spoke the words of the Father. When the Ish leaves the house, the Isha speaks the words of who? The Isha. Because when you see the Isha, you see the Ish. That's the unison. That's the one accord that we're talking about. When the Mashiyach, when the Talmudim asked the Mashiyach, show us the Father, and it sufficeth us. If you have seen me, you have seen the Father. That's what we're talking about in one accord. So you should never ask counsel from anybody else, your soothsayers, your necromancy, pronostication, divinations. Nah. Okay, so you don't put that in overkill. But anyway, verse 16, and he said unto him, thus saith Yahuah, for as much as thou hast sent messengers to inquire of Beelzebub, the Elohim of Ekron, is it not because there is no Elohim in Yashra'al, and to inquire of his word? Therefore, thou shalt not come down off thy bed on which thou art gone up, but shalt surely die. So he died, according to the word of Yahuah, which Eliyahu has spoken. And Jehoram reigned in his stead in the 2nd year of Jehoram, the son of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, because he had no sons, or no sons, singular. Now the rest of the acts of Ahaziah, which he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? So far. Okay, we have a different reading here in the Greek Septuagint, so I'll read that. It says, and the rest of the acts of Ahaziah, which he did, behold, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Yashra'al? And Joram, who was the son of Ahab, reigned over Israel in Samaria 12 years, beginning in the 18th year of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah. And he did that was evil in the sight of Yahuah, only not as his brethren, nor as his mother. And he removed the pillars of Baal, which his father made, and broke them in pieces. Only he was joined to the sins of the house of Jeroboam. Everybody knows who Jeroboam is? Rehoboam and Jeroboam. The reason why I'm finding it very interesting, the classes that Moray is doing, is because he's talking about that there was a division with this side of the house. Northern kingdom and southern kingdom. We went into the book of Ezekiel, and Maury had asked about, was anybody able to explain in detail about these two sisters? In order for there to be unison, everybody has to be in one accord. There's no other way around it. Absolutely no way. Or it can be done. So when we see now here, we have Samaria, and we're talking about Judah, the king of Judah. We see here now that there's a split between the two houses. And the Father now, like Maury has been teaching now, is that this is about unifying or bringing back now the two houses back together again. So at this point here now, there's a division inside of the house. And there can't be any divisions inside of the house. And the only way that we can, again, be in one accord with the Father is that we must make sure that we call on the Elohim of Israel, and the Elohim, or the mighty one of Israel, is Yahuah, or Yahuah. So let's read on a little bit more. We're going to go to the book of Ezekiel, the second chapter. Ezekiel, the second chapter, we'll start the first verse. 2 Kings 2 and 1. Now, after all of this, it said, it came to pass when Yahuah would take up Eliyahu into Shamayim, or heaven, by a whirlwind, that Eliyahu went with Elisha from Gilgal. So we have two very important people that's about to, another important person that's about to step on scene here, which is Elisha. And Eliyahu said unto Elisha, tarry here, I pray thee, for Yahuah. Yes, this is 2 Kings, the second chapter, verse 2. And Eliyahu said unto Elisha, tarry here, I pray you, for Yahuah has sent me to Bethel. Everybody knows what Bethel is, right? This is the house of Bethlehem. Bethlehem. That's the house of bread. Bethel, the house of hallelujah, exactly. And Elisha said unto him, Yahuah liveth, as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. So they went down to Bethel. And the sons of the prophets that were at Bethel came forth to Elisha and said unto him, watch this, this is very, very, very important. And the sons of the prophets that were at Bethel came forth to Elisha and said to Elisha, knowest thou that Yahuah would take away thy Adon? I'll read it first. From thy head to today. And he said, yeah, I know it. Hold your peace. What are you getting out of verse 3? And I read it again. The sons of the prophets that were at Bethel came forth, and he's speaking to Elisha, and said unto him, knowest you that Yahuah would take away your Adon from your head today? And he said, yes, I know. Hold your peace. Any of the sisters? Watch what's happening here. We have Elisha under the tutorship and the governing of Eliyahu. So that word Adon is master, husband, and we have here now that another man is being subservient to another man. That's order. That is order.
You can also see that because it says, from thy head.
Yeah, we're going to cover that too. Yeah, we're going to stick with the word Adon for a minute. So we have the word master, sovereign, and even husband. So we see the importance of Eliyahu over Elisha. And then it says now that Yahuah would take away thy Adon from thy head. Who is actually now covering Elisha? Eliyahu. So we have another man covering another man. And so what I just wanted to share here now is that how respect must be given to those that are in leadership, those that are that the Father has set up in certain positions now And that man now has to be following Torah. But because there's a lot of times where another man might say, listen, you know what, I'm my own man. And another man can't tell me what to do. But not according to Scripture. Not according to Scripture. Everybody must follow the chain of command in order for the body to function. I've spoken to Yahuah many times. And I've told them, listen, you know what? You are the master, the sovereign, the husband of your house. I have no authority over your house. I've told you that many times. We have spoken that. The only thing that I can contribute to Aki is that the information that I'm giving you is your responsibility now to do the research and make sure that your Isha is now in subjection to you. Now, can I ask your Isha to do something according to Torah? If we're part of, yeah, me personally.
Like,
we're a Knesset, we're a body. Could I
guess if it's according to Torah, I mean,
Exactly. Exactly. So that's the point here now, is that nobody is here to usurp your authority.
Right.
But as long as we're functioning as a body, that more, that teacher, he does have that authority to say, listen, you know what, I need for your Isha, or I need for that brother to do X, Y, and Z. There should be no problem. And the reason why is because it's all about Scripture. Everything's about the Scripture. But this is the thing now, nobody has authority over your Isha. Because even Zaken can make mention of this, where it was taught that the man has authority over the woman, which is fine. But I don't have authority over your woman. So not every single male has authority over your Isha. She still, at the end of the day, she still has to comply with the rules and regulations that goes on inside of your household. We're not challenging that. But in order for the body to function,
right.
I need a couple of copies made, for the congregation. That should be no problem. Whatever it might be to make sure that the body is functioning is what I'm trying to get at here. And sharing now is that a more, an elder can say, listen, you know what, I need for a coaching to do this or that to make the body function. We're good?
Yeah.
Because as I say, I don't want anybody to think that a more or anybody else can now go and tell your Isha what to do without talking to you first. That's not what we're doing here. And Zaken can be a witness to that. We went through a whole lot of crap with that back in the day. That is your Isha. But again, we just wanted to share here now is that we have the prophets now speaking with Elisha, and they're telling Elisha that Yahuah now is going to take away his sovereign, his Lord, his master. And don't be afraid of the word Lord. The word Lord, it just means husband. So context is going to be very important. Thy sovereign from thy head today, and he said, yes, I know, hold your peace. And Eliyahu said unto Elisha, tarry here, I pray you, for Yahuah has sent me to Jericho. And he said, Yahuah liveth, and as your soul liveth, I will not leave thee. So they came to Jericho. And the sons of the prophets that were at Jericho came to Elisha and said unto him, knowest you that Yahuah would take away your sovereign from thy head today? And he answered, yes, I know it. Hold your peace. What I also found interesting about verses 3 and 5, about coverings, none of us can operate outside of principle. Principle is order. How does an Isha reverence the Father? Exactly. So it looks like I'm being biased. How does the man, the Ish, reverence the Father?
Obeying the word.
How does the Ish reverence the Father?
By him reverencing Yahusha.
Exactly. I can't go directly to the Father. The Isha can't go directly to the Mashiyach. Coverings are very, very important, extremely important. Order has to be followed. You can't break the chain of command. You can't do that. We have a chief elder, we're going to have elders, we have a chief officer, and we're going to have minor officers. There has to be a chain of command. Right at your job, there's a chain of command. You can't just go directly to the president of the company. There's a vice president. Whatever, how you do things at your job, listen, you know what? They have to follow procedure. And you say either yay or nay. It's just the way that the system works. And when it's functioning properly, we shouldn't have any problems. So we don't want anybody to feel that they're being belittled because they now have to go to another man, or a sister would have to go to another sister to actually get the okay to do something. That's just the way that the body operates. It's nothing personal. Nothing personal. She cannot operate outside of the covering. I cannot operate outside of the Mashiyach's covering. It just can't happen. Can't happen. The Mashiyach can't do his own thing. He must respect the Father. It's the Father, the Son, the man, the woman, and the children. And the way that it went in my household is that, being that I was the oldest, my sisters and my brothers, there was a problem. The first person that was chastised was me, because my mother would say, listen, you know what, you're the oldest. Why didn't you check your younger brothers and sisters about the problem? So now what's going to happen now is that all of you are punishment. Nobody watches TV tonight. And I know this is kind of, it might sound like child abuse nowadays, but nobody's going to eat tonight. You're going to bed hungry. So it's one of those things there. So again, we just want to show proper order here. And so we're going to get back to scripture here. Let's go back to verse 6. And yet Eliyahu said unto him, tarry here. Said unto him, tarry. I pray you here, for Yahuah has sent me to Jordan. And he said, as Yahuah liveth, and as my soul liveth, I will not leave you, Eliyahu. And they too went on. And 50 men of the sons of the prophets went and stood to view afar off. And they stood by Jordan. And Eliyahu took his mantle and wrapped it together and smote the waters, and they were divided hither and thither, so that they too went over on dry ground. So again, just look at how the Father is working with Eliyahu. He takes off his mantle, he puts it together, he strikes the water departs, the same way that it did with Yahusha, the Joshua, when he went over the Jordan. So again, just taking our time and looking at the magnificent works of the Father. Because sometimes we might miss this. And the only way that Eliyahu had this type of connection with the Father is that he had to be obedient. It's all about obedience. If there's no obedience, there will be discord, and we don't want discord. Everybody has to follow rules and regulations. Everybody. Myself being first. And it came to pass when they were gone over that Eliyahu said unto Elisha, ask what I should do for you before I be taken away from you. And Elisha said, I pray thee, listen to this. I would have been afraid to ask this. Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of your ruach be upon me. Now look at all the things that Eliyahu is doing. Now that is a big request. For you want the Father to pour out the ruach upon you double on what you did with Eliyahu. Whew, that's a lot. And so, too much it is given, your responsibility now is going to be that much greater. Everybody understands that. So coming into this walk, this is not a social gathering, this is not church. When you come into this Torah here, and you say that you're going to follow the instruction that the Father is giving us, and you want to be immersed, and you're going to dedicate yourself to this here, make sure you understand what the consequences are if you're not obedient to the Torah. Because it can be a matter of life and death. So just make sure that you understand what's going on. So he's asking now for a double portion. Then he said, thou askest a hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou see me when I am taken from you, or thee, it shall be so unto you. But if not, it shall not be so. And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, and behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Eliyahu went up by a whirlwind unto Shammai. That must have been a beautiful, magnificent, and even at the same time a scary sight to see what Elisha has saw at this time. Let's go to the book of Acts, the 2nd chapter. Because we're seeing all of these strange objects and these vessels here. Let's go to the book of Acts, the 1st chapter.
First chapter?
Yes, Acts, the 1st chapter. Because this set-apart spirit is going to be very, very important, and we're all looking for that set-apart spirit to be a ruach, to be poured upon us. I'm going to go with Acts chapter 1, verse 7. I'm going to read verse 6. One more time, verse 5. Verse 5. We'll jump into the middle of it. For Yahuah cannot truly immerse with water, but you shall be immersed with the set-apart spirit not many days hence. So he's talking to his Talmudim here. And when they therefore were come together, they asked of them, saying, Sovereign, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Yashra'al? And again, this is what Warrior's been teaching now for the longest. And we have the Talmudim asking the Mashiyach, have he now come at this time to restore the kingdom to Yashra'al? What I found interesting about this when I was reading the book of Kings this morning is that, did anybody know how long this conversation that the Mashiyach had with his Talmudim about this one particular topic, how long this took place? 40 days. 40 days. It has always been about the restoration of Israel. Always. I'll read it. Verse 3. Verse 1. Verse 1. The former treaties have I made, O Theophilus, of all that the Messiah began to do and teach, until the day in which he was taken up. After that, he, through the set-apart Spirit, had given commandments unto the apostles whom he had chosen. Verse 3. To whom also he showed himself alive after his passions, by many infallible proofs, being seen of them 40 days, in speaking of the things pertaining to the kingdom of Elohim. So we need to be a little bit more detailed in exactly what the Mashiyach is actually speaking about in this 40-day seminar. And being assembled together with them, commanded them that they should not depart from Jerusalem, but wait for the promise of the Father, which saith he, You have heard of me. For Yahuah cannot truly immerse with water, but you shall be immersed with the set-apart Spirit not many days hence. When they therefore were come together, they asked him, saying, Sovereign, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom of Israel? And he said unto them, It is not for you to know the times or the seasons, for the Father which put in his hand, have put in his own power. So the conversation has always been about the restoration of the 12 tribes of Israel. Even when we began to look at what happened with Yahuah, remember when it was Zechariah. Zechariah went into the temple to pray because he was the 8th course of Abijah. And it said that he prayed a particular type of prayer. Everybody is familiar with the Amidah. It's called A-M-I-D-A-H, the Amidah, and the 18th benediction. And the 18th benediction was always about the restoration of Israel. The restoration. The Mashiach's ministry was all about the restoration of Israel. That's the reason